Hi, this is Rani Chopra. These days, every time you watch the financial news, you hear the word QE2. What is QE2 and how does it affect the common man? Simply put, QE stands for quantitative easing. It is a type of monetary policy that is aimed at stimulating the economy when it is headed towards a deflation. This is currently the case with the US economy, when the Federal Reserve is trying to revive the economy with quantitative easing. Usually, most economists suggest two economic policies, expansionary and contractionary. When an economy is headed towards an inflation, the central bank decreases money supply and raises the interest rates to curb spending. But when an economy is headed towards a recession, the central bank increases the money supply and lowers the interest rates to encourage spending and therefore boost the economy. But what happens when interest rates are almost close to zero and the economy is still in a slump? This is the challenge that the Federal Reserve is facing today. Hence, the quantitative easing. The central bank is printing more money, and this money is being used to buy not just government bonds but other financial assets. The money is also used to increase bank reserves so that they can lend it to the public, who can in turn use the money to spend on goods and thus create economic growth. Too good to be true? Well, the Fed is using the money it creates to buy not only government bonds but also the asset-backed securities and the mortgage-backed securities that are now worthless, so that the bank can now have liquid assets on their books instead of those worthless securities. Also, with lowered bond interest rates, money is now being invested into the stock market where investors can expect higher returns, and this is helping the stock market to go up. But with all this excess money in circulation, the value of the US dollar is declining. The other aspect of this is that we are told by the Federal Reserve that the economy is headed towards a deflation. But when we take a look at consumer good prices, we see that all prices have gone up when compared to last year. There is a price increase in gas, commodities, healthcare, and almost all food items. The increased money supply is taking the economy into a downward spiral as people are spending money on things that they don't need and investing in the stock market, which will be the next bubble to burst. There is a correlation between the stock market and the value of the dollar, which can be observed during recent times. With the excess money in circulation that is now being pumped into stocks, we are witnessing a rise in the stock market, but at the same time, a depreciation of the US dollar. The weak dollar makes exports cheaper and imports expensive, and this is helping fuel domestic growth in a low inflation environment, something that the government and the Fed actually support. The QE2 is slated to end in June 2011, and the Federal Reserve is not planning on buying any more treasury bonds. It remains to be seen if the economy grows as it did in 2010 in this current year, and whether the economy will thrive without the hand-holding by the Fed. Will consumer spending increase amidst poor employment figures and falling home prices? I think that the stock market is headed for a major correction when the artificial support for the stock and bond market ends.